The moment someone steps into your home, a silent judgment is made. Not about your income. Not about your furniture. Not even about how big or small your place is. It happens instantly, and almost no one realizes it's happening. The wealthiest Jewish families in the world have been trained for generations to notice one invisible detail within seconds, and that single detail predicts whether someone will struggle financially for life or quietly rise into prosperity. Most people never even know they're sending the wrong signal. Today, you're going to learn what that signal is, why it matters, and how it could be silently blocking wealth from your life right now. What I'm about to share isn't modern motivation or internet manifestation. You won't find it in self-help books or quick-fix money hacks. This comes from ancient Jewish wisdom passed down through families who built and protected wealth for thousands of years. It's knowledge rarely spoken openly, not because it's secret, but because it's powerful and misunderstood. For decades, these principles were taught quietly inside communities, from grandparents to grandchildren. They explain why some homes feel heavy and stagnant, while others seem to naturally attract opportunity, money, and stability without constant struggle. I learned these teachings through generations. My grandfather was a rabbi who studied sacred financial traditions his entire life. His father taught the same wisdom before the war in Eastern Europe, and his father before him did the same. This knowledge survived exile, collapse, and chaos because it works. Over 40 years of study of the Talmud and Kabbalistic teachings taught me something crucial: wealth isn't accidental. It follows laws, spiritual laws, just as real as physical ones. Ignore them, and no amount of effort helps. Align with them, and life begins to cooperate. I've stood inside the homes of billionaires, self-made millionaires, and people who started with absolutely nothing. I've also walked into homes of people working 16 hours a day who still couldn't escape debt. The difference was never intelligence or effort. It was always the same invisible signs. Wealthy families learn to read these signs as children. They don't guess. They observe. Within 30 seconds, they can tell if a person's relationship with money is healthy or broken, because your home reveals everything before you ever speak. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what your home may be broadcasting to the universe right now. You'll see why money might be avoiding you even though you work hard. And most importantly, you'll learn how to reverse it using a precise ancient method that has changed lives within days. But you must stay until the end, because the most powerful part comes later. Miss it, and the rest won't work. This isn't entertainment. It's a shift, and it starts with awareness. I was 14 when everything changed. One evening after Shabbat dinner, my grandfather called me into his study. The candles were still glowing. The air smelled like fresh bread. He looked at me and said one sentence I didn't understand until years later: "Your home is not where you live. It is what you are becoming." I thought a home was just walls and a roof. Then he opened the Talmud and showed me a passage studied for over 2,000 years about space, energy, and destiny. That passage explained that every physical space carries a spiritual signature. There is no neutrality. A home is either attracting abundance or repelling it, every single day. Wealthy families know this instinctively. When they enter a home, they aren't using magic or intuition. They're reading physical evidence that reveals the state of a person's inner channel of prosperity. Your home is a mirror. It reflects how you respect money, expect abundance, and prepare for growth. Most people never look closely enough to see what they're revealing. At 26, I finally understood this truth. I lived in a tiny apartment with barely space for a bed and desk. I worked part-time and struggled constantly. I budgeted, saved, worked harder, nothing changed. Money came in and disappeared. One night, I remembered my grandfather's words and looked around my home honestly for the first time. I saw clutter, neglect, and stagnation everywhere. My space was quietly announcing scarcity. I followed the exact method I had been taught, and within 3 weeks, everything shifted. A new teaching opportunity appeared unexpectedly. A debt I'd carried for 2 years was forgiven. A family member I hadn't spoken to in months offered an opportunity that permanently changed my financial direction. That's when I stopped thinking of this as philosophy. This was practical, repeatable power. And what you're learning here is only the foundation. Wealth follows alignment. When your space changes, your opportunities change. Not later. Not someday. Fast. So why does this actually work? The Talmud teaches that prosperity follows universal laws that existed long before modern economics. Ancient rabbis identified these patterns through generations of observation. They encoded them into how you live, organize your space, and prepare for blessing. When you align with these laws, you stop swimming upstream. You move with the current, and that's when effort finally produces results instead of exhaustion. If you're listening right now, I know how you feel. You're not lazy. You're not irresponsible. You work hard, maybe harder than most. Yet somehow, you're always behind. Bills pile up. Progress disappears. Others seem comfortable without trying as hard. Everyone gives advice: work more, think positive, invest smarter, but nothing truly changes. That's because you've only been taught half the equation. The physical side matters, but the spiritual channel determines whether effort turns into stability or frustration. The Talmud teaches that livelihood flows through a spiritual channel established above. That doesn't mean fate is fixed, it means alignment matters. Your job isn't only to work. It's to keep the channel open. Your home is the physical expression of that channel. When wealthy families enter your home, they're reading whether that channel is clear or blocked. Most people unknowingly block it themselves. The first thing they notice is your entrance. In Jewish tradition, the entrance is a portal. Energy enters there. Clutter, broken items, old mail, dead plants, each one blocks flow. It silently says, "I'm not ready." I once visited a high-income family drowning in debt. Their entrance was packed with junk. The energy couldn't breathe. Prosperity works the same way. The second sign is the kitchen. In Kabbalah, it's the furnace of abundance. Disorganization, expired food, neglect, these signal disrespect for what you already have. Respect creates more. Neglect closes doors. These aren't small details. They decide whether your home is a vessel or a barrier. The third sign is your bedroom. Especially under the bed and on the nightstand. This is the space of restoration and guidance. Clutter here disrupts clarity and opportunity. I cleared mine once and felt the difference within days. Sleep improved. Decisions sharpened. Opportunities appeared. No coincidence. The fourth sign is broken items. The Talmud says a broken vessel cannot hold blessing. Clocks, chairs, lights, doors, each broken object leaks abundance. Wealthy families repair or remove immediately. What you tolerate multiplies. The fifth sign is expectation. Does your home look like it expects blessing? Light, fresh food, open books, space for guests, these signal readiness. Act as if it already is, the Talmud teaches. Not extravagance. Intention. We're living in uncertain financial times. Inflation rises. Jobs disappear. Stability feels fragile. That's exactly why this matters now. When systems shake, alignment protects. Your home can become a shield or a leak. What it becomes is your choice.